Hey guitar legends, Sam Wild here. We're looking at Edelweiss today from The Sound of Music. It's really fun and nice to play. It's just a short and sweet piece. Although you can play it twice through if you want to make it a bit longer. Okay, you are going to need the Capo on fret 2, so make sure you've got that in place nice and tight first. So let's start with the intro. Bear in mind we're in the key of G. The intro kind of hinges off the 5 chord, so we have D in the bass, and we have some triads, so G with D in the bass, then it's kind of a C with D in the bass, and then it's sort of D7. Alright, so the first shape you want is going to be plucked by fingers 1 and 2 on the G and the B string. Okay, and you can use your thumb on the D string. Okay, and then left hand you want first finger on B3. Okay, and we're just going to pluck 2 at the same time, G and B string. And then the bass note comes in there. There's 3 notes. Bom, bom, bom. Okay, then you add to E3 with the second finger. Okay, first finger stays where it is. And then we're going to have to move these 2 down to the B and E string. Okay, but thumb is still on the D string. Okay, so far we have. Alright, and if you want to make this easier, guys, you can have your pinky resting just here below the strings in a comfortable place for you. Okay, just because now there's a sort of an anchor point. So your brain can look at the left hand when it needs to without getting lost as much with the right hand. Again, we have. And then use fingers 3 and 4 on G5 and B5. Okay, 5 frets from the capo. And again, fingers 1 and 2 to pluck. That's the 3rd bar. And then this 4th bar. We're going to play the same thing, but the pinky comes away this time. And now we have first finger on B3, okay? But 3rd finger stays where it is. So those last 2 bars, it's just 1 note difference. So it's the pinky to first finger. So try and play this whole thing with me. I'll count you in 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And you can kind of pause at the end of this bar. You kind of slow it down before you come in. Okay, that's a nice musical effect. It just adds a little bit of suspense. Okay, we've essentially made 1 bar last about 2 bars, okay, just to add a little bit of suspense, which is quite nice. For those of you that want to take your playing to the next level, make sure you sign up to my premium membership website. You'll gain access to all my backing tracks, all of my lessons, and I'll teach you how to improvise, solo, and play advanced chords. Enjoy the rest of your lesson, guys. So for the bulk of the song, we pretty much have an AA-BA structure. Okay, so that means there's some repetition with the A sections, but usually the last few bars can change slightly even within these A sections. So we pretty much just have 2 parts to learn, but there are some variations. Alright, so let's start with this first line. You're going to want to get your G chord ready here, okay, but you only need the middle finger down to begin with. Alright, on E3, so we have that G note. Some of you might recognize this G chord. Alright, but we only need the bass note for now, which we're going to always play the bass note with the thumb. Alright, again, pinky here for an anchor point, resting. Okay, so just get that shape ready. Now we're going to play the E and the B string at the same time. I use my middle finger on the B string personally. And then we can use the first finger on the G string. Just like that. Then we'll add the third finger on the B string, B3, to get that second melody note. Adel, Adel. Again, middle finger still on that B string. Then second bar, we've essentially gone from G major to D. Alright, but the note is up here. This is another reason why you want the capo on, so you can actually reach this top note. Okay, now it's a little bit of a stretch. It's like your D chord, but the pinky has to reach here, E5 from capo, okay? So we'll play the D string with the thumb, and we'll play the E string with the third finger. So you essentially have your thumb first, second and third all on the bottom 4 strings here when we do the D chord. And I just pluck G string, B string with fingers 1 and 2. So we do the outer strings and then the inner strings. Okay, so just practice playing these first 2 bars. Just go round and round, as slow as you need to go, okay? Then when you're ready, let's look at the third bar here. This is essentially still a G major chord again, but we have B in the bass, okay? Sounds quite nice. So you want to get a few fingers ready here to begin with. Okay, we're going to have first finger here on A2, third finger is going to be on the B string, 3rd fret, and pinky on the E string, 3rd fret. Alright, and again we're going to do thumb on the bass note, and 3rd finger on that top E string. Okay, then we'll play the G string with the 1st finger, and then the B string with the 2nd finger. So you're covering the bottom 3 strings here with your fingers, and then your thumb is on the A string. Okay, so we have like that. And then for the last bar, we'll go to C major. Just your C major shape here. And again, thumb and ring finger, but this time A string and B string. And then now the middle strings are the D and the G string. Same pattern. So this whole line so far, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. So that is the first line, guys. I just want to point out to you before we go any further, you don't have to use exactly the same fingers that I use, by the way. Okay, so for example, for C, you could do thumb and middle finger, and then thumb and index for the next 2 notes, which means the thumb has to move down, but it means you don't have to use the ring finger, the 3rd finger. You don't have to use that if it feels weird to you, okay? Now for the second line, we have this. Alright, you look happy to me. So again, we start with G, then we're going to an E minor, then A minor 7 to D. Alright, they're the chords. G, E minor, A minor 7, D. So this first bar is the same as the previous line, as you can see, but it's a little bit easier. We don't have to add the 3rd finger this time. Okay, then quickly change to your E minor shape with fingers 2 and 3. And we can play 4 notes at the same time here if you want to. You can just do 2 notes to make it easier, but I like to do a little roll. Now to get those top notes, we have to hit the B string 3 times, and we use fingers 1 and fingers 4 here. On the B string, fret 1 and 3. And you can see how I use my third finger there. And then third bar we have A minus 7, just 2 fingers, fingers 1 and 2. And we're going to do the same thing, we're going to do 4 notes at once. But this time we've moved everything down a string. So we've got the A string in the bass, and we have the top 3 strings with our fingers there, right? Then we're going to play D string with the thumb, and index finger is going to play the G string. Like that. And then the last bar, we go to a D major shape again. And then we add F sharp in the bass. So you can see I've got thumb and middle finger for the first 2 notes, then index for the second note. Now look, the thumb has to come up to get this note here, fret 2 on the E string, and I use my thumb there. You see that? I bring the thumb in to get fret 2. Alright, so that's the first 8 bars, which is the first A section. So let's just try and play this whole thing, just not the intro, just these 8 bars here. Again, after 2 bars, counting, ready, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Alright, great job guys. Now the next set of bars, there's going to be some repetition. Like I said, it's another A section. So as you can see, the first line is exactly the same. It's still... But now this bit is different. Okay, this last line. So we have 4 bars to look at here for the second A section. So this time it's more of G, D, G, G. Much more simple in terms of the chords. 1 chord, the 5 chord, the 1 chord. Okay, so we have same as the first bar on lines 1 and 3 actually, isn't it? So the third finger has to come down. And then instead of going up here, we can just do our simple D shape. I like to do 3 notes at the same time. Do a little roll there. Or you don't have to, you can just do 2 notes. And then with the third finger, I do open E, and then bring the second finger down. Okay, so you begin with the second finger off to get the open E string, and then you bring it down, fret 2 on the E string. Okay, then the last 2 bars, you can have your G shape already, even on that first note. Right, so we do the top and the bottom E string, then G string, B string, top and bottom again. You can even strum all of them if you want to. You can do whatever you want really there. Or you can even repeat. You can just do the same thing. Alright. So that's 2 of the A sections learned. Now we're on to our B section. So this is the part that goes blossom of snow, may you bloom and grow forever. Alright, that's the B section. We've got 8 bars here. So this time we have the D chord to the G chord. Then we have C, A with C sharp in the bass, D. Alright, so there's a few tricky parts in here, but the first 4 bars are not too tricky. So start with your D shape, but the stretched version, the pinky on that top note. And we're going to play summer blossom of. So thumb and ring finger, then index, and then 2 quick middle fingers here on the B string. 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. Like that. Second bar, we're going to have to move over to our ordinary D shape here. And again, I do a little roll on all 4 strings. Then second finger comes away for the open E string. And then one more pluck on the B string as well. So all together, that's the D shape part. Then second finger up to the top again. We have quite a simple thing here on the G chord. Okay, so you're covering the bottom 3 strings here, and thumb is on the G string. So you can start with just this second finger down, and then you're going to add the third finger and then add the pinky as you go. Right? Blossom of snow, may you bloom and grow. Okay, second half of this B section is a little tricky because we have C, and then there's a bit of a stretch here because it's sort of an A with a C sharp in the bass and a top note. And then we have to add this other finger before going to D. Okay, so this middle shape is tricky, but I'll show you a way to simplify it. For the first bar, we want our C major chord. So just start by playing all 4 strings. You've got the A string with the thumb, and again bottom 3 strings with fingers 1, 2, and 3. Then you can pluck the G string again just to fill the space with the index. And then you need to add the pinky here to E3. And we can again hit the bass note at the same time. Like that. Now here, very tricky shape because we have A with C sharp in the bass and a top note with the pinky. You'll notice my wrist comes down quite a lot to do this. And I really squeeze the thumb in, squeeze the whole hand together, and I'm trying to drag it in a little bit as well. I pull it towards me a little bit, some extra squeeze effect there. Okay, if this is too tricky, you can just do the bass note and the top note, right? So you can go, and that's fine. Okay, you don't have to get this barred first finger down if you don't want to, because it is very tricky. Okay, you can just play bass note and top note. So you got fret 4 and fret 5, finger 3, finger 4. We pluck, same thing as we did before, all 4 at once. Do the G string again as we did before, and then we're going to have to move the middle finger here to fret 3, right? So we get this. You can do it however you want. You don't have to do this whole shape. You can just play the melody with the bass note. Okay, but I tend to do like this. So I do all 4, then the G string, and then bass and E string. Okay, the last few bars are more simple because we just have our normal G shape. Again, you can play all 4 strings at once. And and then the G string twice. In that last bar we have D and B string, and then G string twice again. Okay, so last 2 bars, like that. Alright, let's try and play this whole B section together. I'll give you 2 bars counting again. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Alright, we're nearly there, guys. We just have this final A section. Alright, again, there's repetition here. The first part is the same. Edelweiss. So we already know the first 4 bars here. And then for the last part, it's kind of the same as the second A section. So, you look happy to meet me. It's the same thing, but if you want to end the song here, we can do a really nice, add a little sus shape in there, and we can also slow it down. So I'm playing bottom and top E string, G string. Then to make it a sus, you stretch over with the first finger to fret 1 here. On the B string, right? Then you take it off for that very last strum. So this whole last line goes. And can you hear how I slow down and I kind of pause on that last note? Alright guys, that is everything. So my advice is to just practice each section one at a time. So you practice the intro, then you practice the next 8 bars, the next 8 bars, next 8 bars. Okay, so do it in sort of sets of 8 bars for the most part, apart from the intro. The play along's coming up and you can slow down the video, don't forget. Just go on the YouTube, the little cog settings icon. You can go playback speed 0.75. It might sound a little bit odd, but it does mean you can practice at a slower tempo for a while, just to get used to the muscle memory of the finger mechanics. Alright, then when you feel ready enough and you can play it pretty well, put it back up to full speed. And if you want an even bigger challenge, you can go even faster than full speed, of course, which then makes it easier to play at regular speed. If you found this lesson helpful in any way, guys, please give it a thumbs up, a like, and make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell icon as well. Okay, thanks so much for watching. Good luck with the play along. I'll see you in the next lesson.